How's it going, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a very great day and hope you guys all had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. And we're going to be talking about what my picks are for the best films of 2020 and the worst films of 2020. Normally, I would do a list video of both. Unfortunately, I really didn't have a easy time being able to narrow down like a top 5 or a top 10 best and a top 5 or top 10 worst films of 2020. Reason being is, unfortunately, because of coronavirus, me being able to go to the movies and see films and review them in the proper way has been a nightmare. It's been a very jumbled mess. And because of that, I've actually been watching a lot of catalog stuff on digital or disc here at my house. I've been watching some stuff on Disney Plus, but in general, I've been doing a lot of backlog watching, and so I haven't had the chance to actually go out or have the chance to at home watch anything really new and talk about it. There's been some things that I was able to see at theaters, and I had a blast watching them. And then there's been some real disappointments. And so we're going to talk about my picks for the best movies and worst movies of 2020. And you guys are more than welcome to agree or disagree. And please do note that because of coronavirus, I did not see every single movie that came out. And there might be films that I don't even mention here. And just be aware of that fact. So we're going to run down my list first of what I think best movies are of 2020 and then the worst ones. To make the list of what I thought were the best movies, they had to be at least higher than like a 6 or a 7. They have to have some sort of rewatchable value, whether it be something to do with emotion, some sort of shock, something that surprised me, something that I enjoyed, whether it be an actor doing a really great job, the plot was cool, and then of course everything that will make the list for the worst films of 2020 are things that are like 6 and under, films that I really don't want to watch again because they were either like predictable, nothing really new happens in them, they bored me to death, they really disrespected the franchise, or it just didn't really innovate in any capacity, or it borrowed and it stole from other things that we have seen a lot already. So, starting off, here we go. This is going to be my list for the best movies of 2020. Starting off, these are in no particular order of a rating, they're just all here on the list. So, starting off, we have Clouds, and I'll be frank, that probably was the best movie of 2020. 10 out of 10 for sure. A very great character piece, and I cried at the end, and I cried during the film. You can go check out my review for this film, but in general, I've cried because I know people that have passed away that are close to me that have passed away from cancer, and it really does hit you emotionally. Next, 2067, a great time travel adventure. Number 3, I Still Believe, the film that talks about Jeremy Camp and his life uh, at college and how he falls in love and how he kickstarts his musical career. Next, Alone, great movie. Magic Camp, it is a Disney Plus exclusive, but I highly encourage you guys, if you just get Disney Plus for like a trial, make sure you guys check out this movie. It's a really great film. Come Play, another great horror movie. Yes, it kind of does borrow at times from certain other horror films we've seen, but it's really scary towards the very end. Next, Sonic the Hedgehog, starring, of course, Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman. Great movie. I still love watching this film. Next, Honest Thief, starring Liam Neeson. A Disney Plus exclusive, Lego Star Wars The Holiday Special. It was basically everything that I wanted to see in the sequel trilogy, and they were able to do so in less than like 50 minutes. It is a great film. Uh, Dylan O'Brien's new movie that came out here in 2020, Love and Monsters. Next, Safety. It can feel, though, with Safety that, there are some elements of it that are very similar to films that we've seen in the past, whether it be Remember the Titans or Invincible. Safety is still a great watch, and I encourage you guys to check it out. Another quote unquote horror like film is Sightless. What is your life going to be like when, you're blind? and they really do a great job exploring that concept in this film. Next, Stargirl. I've had a lot of people hate on my review, so I took it down, but I will still stand by my guts and my stance that I made earlier in this year in my review that I took down because it was getting a lot of hate, and I was not enjoying the comment section and everyone having a battle in there, so I took the video down. But I still love Stargirl. It's a great film. It's a slow burn, but there's a reason for it, and I encourage you guys, if you have Disney Plus, watch it. You'll enjoy. Next, the new Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet. You had to know that was making the list. Love that movie. I just got it on Blu-ray a few days ago. I'm planning on rewatching it again. Next, a really shocking movie called The Invisible Man. This was, of course, supposed to be taking place in the same universe as Tom Cruise's The Mummy. But, because of that whole debacle, the Dark Universe kind of got scrapped. And so they went along with this modern-day version of The Invisible Man, and I really enjoyed it. The One and Only Ivan is a great animal flick. You'll have a blast watching it, and it does have a emotional end because it is based on a true story. And lastly, The Outpost, a really great war movie talking about, of course, the war over in Iraq. And a lot of shocking twists and turns, a lot of great action, and a lot of great character moments. Negative-wise, we're going to be getting into what I think are the worst movies of 2020, and I'm going to start off what I believe are the... These three movies have a really hard time These three movies I'm going to mention really deserve the #1 spot of worst movie of 2020, and that is Mulan, Birds of Prey, and Jiu-Jitsu. They all are really well deserving of the top spot of that, and I'll just make it a point. I think Mulan's worse out of all three. So, yeah, Mulan takes the spot as what I believe is the worst movie of 2020. They tried to make Mulan into a more realistic version of the legend, and they did everything wrong possibly, and they got rid of everything that everybody loved, including the musical numbers. There's no Mushu, and let's be honest, within the first 5 minutes, they established that Mulan is basically a Mary Sue. She has this chi, this Jedi inside of her. There's even Star Wars Jedi moments in this film of Mulan. And you're like, yeah, you've turned Mulan into a Jedi. Look at me, I've got the power! This movie's bad. Of course, Birds of Prey. I hated that movie. I don't know why anybody thought that as a comic book fan was going to enjoy that, but I did not. Next, Jiu-Jitsu starring Nicolas Cage. Basically, it's Mortal Kombat, Predator, and every other alien science fiction horror film that you've seen smashed into one. And they use the deja vu, I can't remember card throughout the whole film, and it's really horrible. Next, on the worst side of films, Artemis Fowl. Total garbage shoot. Next, starring Vin Diesel, Bloodshot. I had fun watching it once, and then the second time I watched it, I hated it more, and I don't care for it. Next, Deep Blue Sea 3. The first 1 and 2 I thought were pretty cool. This film just tries to be doing so much. There's so much happening, so many characters, so many plot lines crammed into a short runtime, and you're like, I don't care about anything anymore. It just gets boring. Next on the list of worst films is Dolittle with Robert Downey Jr. And this was, of course, his first film that he's done in a while since he's been in the MCU. And this film, although it is cute and adorable, it makes no logical sense. And it's played for laughs and giggles and fart jokes. And I did not enjoy the film. Next film on the list of worst films is Godmothered. It tries to play the fish out of water card, and basically Godmothered is the direct ripoff of Enchanted. Thank you. I was trying to figure out what the name of the. If you've seen Enchanted, that's what Godmother does, just updated. It's really that's all it is. Next, starring Bruce Willis, is Hard Kill. This movie is trying to basically be the new Die Hard, and it's basically Die Hard but in a warehouse for the entire film. Very boring. Very bad. Next, Disney's Onward. This film, of course, was supposed to come out in theaters, and although I liked the brother-like relationship, everything else that involves magic, I didn't care. I didn't care for this movie. Also, they threw a gay plot line in here that doesn't do a darn thing to aid the movie in any capacity. It just exists there, and you're supposed to like somehow care, and I didn't. I didn't care because it doesn't push the movie forward. Next, Scoob. Oh God. They turned Scooby Doo into the Avengers of this movie. They literally made the Scooby Doo gang into Avengers Squad. They really are trying to destroy my childhood. Next, Secret Society of Second Born Royals. Basically, it's a royal version of Spy Kids. Best way to sum that up. Next on worst films, The Blackout, Invasion Earth. Think any invasion movie you've seen like Independence Day, but instead of like attacking us, they basically use EMP devices and make it where the entire planet no longer has power. Very simple, very basic, very boring. Next, Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. My mom wanted to go see this, and so I saw it with her. And the fact that this film uses CGI dogs instead of realistic dogs that we've seen be able to be done before in the past, like Togo. Togo is a movie that actually uses real dogs. I don't understand why the Call of the Wild could not use real dogs, and it just relies a lot on CGI, and it's very blatant, very clear, and I just don't like it. Like, why can't you get an actual dog to be in the film? Why did you have to CGI the dog? And there's other things in the film that are very obviously CGI and not real. So, next, The Hunt. Basically, it is a very dark rated R version of The Hunger Games. And if you've seen The Hunger Games, you've seen this movie, and it's really passable. Next, The New Mutants, which is supposed to be the last film in the X-Men franchise before the Disney and Fox merger. And this film was supposed to be out years ago, and it was hyped up and constantly being delayed. And then when it came out, it's like, hey, look, this is an X-Men movie with a horror twist. And I really was looking forward to this movie because I was like, okay, X-Men with a horror twist. Sounds cool, sounds unique, sounds interesting, right? This film doesn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know if it wanted to be a gay X-Men movie. It didn't know if it wanted to be an X-Men movie. It didn't know if it wanted to be a horror X-Men movie. It also didn't know if it was trying to rip off a Split. It also didn't know if it was trying to be like a reboot of the X-Men franchise. It didn't know if it wanted to connect to the X-Men franchise. There's so much in this movie that happens, and it's trying to poke at different plots and elements and things that it exists in, and it doesn't know what it wants to actually center on. There's so much in this film that they were dipping their toes into, and they didn't realize, hey, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know that we're actually trying to connect to something. Next on the worst is Zombies 2. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out Zombies, it is a Disney film. Zombies 2 basically introduced werewolves, and all of the quote unquote musical numbers and sections in this film are bad. They look like stages instead of actually being like practical effects like in the real world, and it's just blatant obvious that they really don't care about this franchise anymore. Unfortunately, they're going to do a third one because at the very end, it's like, hey, look, aliens are coming. And then lastly, on my list of worst films is Underwater. Um, if you've seen any sort of alien movie, you know that this movie is very predictable. Basically, this is like the original Alien and Aliens film, but instead of being outer space, it's underwater. And that's the best way to describe it. And I have no interest in ever rewatching that movie ever again. So those are my picks for the best and worst films of 2020. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with me in the comments. I'd like to hear what you guys thought. You guys all have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye, guys.